Welcome to Mark's British Airways Fleet Update, looking at short and long-haul fleets.
Thanks for joining us on the British Airways Fleet Update. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click for notifications.
Welcome to a special update of the British Airways fleet news, and I'm recording this really for two reasons. One is that I wanted to apologise to all my viewers for a little bit of a technical glitch during the last update when we talked about the A350 and particularly the A380 fleet. So I'm going to re-record that and update it to make sure you have that proper update on those aircraft. And I'm also going to talk about the events around the BA216 on the 26th of April, which I think is of interest to many of you, when that aircraft departed from Washington Dulles and diverted into Boston Logan. So let's get on and have a look at the Airbus A350 fleet. Golf X-Ray Whiskey Bravo Kilo remains at Malta in the Lufthansa Technik facility for its maintenance. Been there since the 25th of April. What I was trying to also say in my last update is that this is the type of work that British Airways wants to bring back in-house, and that's why it's funding a substantial upgrade of its facilities at British Airways maintenance at Cardiff. So what you'll see once we get into 2026 is these type of maintenance events being undertaken in-house by the British Airways team in Cardiff once that work's complete. And of course that makes sense for a number of reasons. First of all, you don't have to fly the aircraft to places around the world. That costs fuel. It takes aircrew time, which is also expensive. It means the aircraft can be in Cardiff quicker than they can get to somewhere like Malta. British Airways has control of the work. It can control its resources and how it allocates them. And of course, it's not paying Lufthansa a profit margin, which I'm sure Lufthansa's happy to receive, and no doubt is probably exploiting British Airways somewhat by charging not just the costs of the work, but a hefty overhead as well. And then the Airbus A380, good news really for that fleet. X-Ray Lima Echo Bravo remains in Manila. It's been there for a couple of months now, since the 3rd of March, for its very heavy sort of midlife exam. And I'm going to move on this video to talk about the events around the BA216 on the 26th of April, but that did knock on to the A380 fleet with the cancellation of the BA212 from Boston that evening. No other cancellations to report, so that is a much improved position. So let's move on then. 26th of April, I thought you'd just find this interesting. Certainly I found it interesting. What started off as a routine flight from Washington Dulles ended up with a little bit of drama, all carefully, safely managed by the flight crew. But it did result in quite a bit of disruption. The aircraft was on its way from Washington Dulles and encountered what appears to be a bird strike, not actually into the engine subsequently, we understand, but affecting some of the air conditioning equipment underneath the aircraft. Fumes occurred in the passenger cabin, which were causing, I think, quite a bit of concern and discomfort for passengers, and the flight crew decided, after they had climbed up into the cruise, that transiting the Atlantic was not tenable and they needed to divert the aircraft into Boston. So let's have a little look at that now, courtesy of some fantastic ATC coverage, which is perfectly legal in the US, but sadly not something we're allowed to take advantage of with UK air traffic control. So let's look at that.
Freebird 216, heavy wind 340 at 23 gusts 30. Turn left to heading 350, one right clear for takeoff. One right clear for takeoff and left head 350, Freebird 216. Speedbird 216 Heavy, contact Potomac departure. Good day.
Contact departure, Speedbird 216, fine.
Initially, then, it's a normal departure until we hear
Speedbird
this.
216, we've hit something on departure, not sure what it is.
What are your intentions then?
We'll continue at the moment. I think it's just a bird, but it just smells pretty bad in here right now.
Okay, no worries. You have time to copy a phone number so when you reach your destination you can call us if there was damage?
Yes, stand by 1 second.
So the BA pilot reaches for pen and paper.
Speedbird 216, go ahead with the phone number.
Okay, Speedbird 216 Heavy, you can continue your climb and maintain 10,000.
Climb maintain 10,000, Speedbird 216.
And Speedbird, the phone number is 571.
Of course, they've blanked that out for us. They don't want us ringing that number, but the aircraft is climbing to 35,000 feet.
571, Speedbird 216.
Thank you, Speedbird. Just call us if you find damage when you reach your destination. You can contact departure now. Have a good night.
Okay, see you soon, Speedbird 216. Thanks for your help.
Speedbird 216 Heavy, turn right direct to Reagan.
Right, direct to Reagan, Speedbird 216 Heavy.
So the aircraft climbs to flight level 350, the crew not intending to do anything different, initially intending perhaps to review the situation, but then the aircraft logs in with Boston Center and it becomes apparent they're going to need to divert to Boston. Listen in.
Boston Center, Speedbird 216 Heavy, flight level 350.
Speedbird 216, Boston Center.
This is Boston, Speedbird 216. We need to declare an emergency. We need to do a diversion into Boston, please.
Speedbird 216, Roger, and you are cleared to speak Boston Airport via radar vectors. Now you can fly a heading 075.
Okay, well, heading 075, the reason for diversion, we had a bird strike on departure from Washington, and there's impact of fumes in the cabin, and it's uncontrollable. But at the moment, we'll need to go to Boston.
Speedbird 216, Roger, and descend of house discretion and maintain 11,000, the Boston altimeter 29er 67.
Then when pilot suggestion 11,000, 2967, Speedbird 216.
And Speedbird 216, for your flying group is on the descent. I can give you direct here in just a few minutes.
Okay, that's copied. We've got a load of checklist set up to do. Can you just confirm we can expect ILS 22 left in Boston?
Speedbird 216, affirmative, 22 left.
Thanks, Speedbird 216. We'll stay level for the moment, and once I've got something set up in the box, then I'll call you back.
Speedbird 216, Roger, I'll keep you on this heading for now, and when you're ready to go in, let me know.
Thank you.
And Speedbird 216, whenever you have a moment, still remaining and souls on board.
Okay, Speedbird 216, we've got 48 tons of fuel on board, and it's 243 plus 15 crew.
Speedbird 216, Roger, thank you.
And Speedbird 216, are we able to proceed direct to point Hotel Alpha Victor Romeo Delta?
Speedbird 216, you're looking for Hotel Alpha Victor Romeo Delta?
Yeah, A-Span, just point us in the right direction. It's somewhere that I know.
And Speedbird 216, approved as requested.
Okay, we'll go direct to Abbott Speedbird 216 then.
And Speedbird 216, are you on oxygen?
Negative, Speedbird 216. Flight deck's okay, but it's in the cabin, the smell is bad.
Speedbird 216, Roger.
Speedbird 216. We'd like to commence descent now. Are we still clear 11,000?
Speedbird 216, affirmative. Descend and maintain 11,000.
Descend and maintain 11,000, Speedbird 216, thanks.
Speedbird 216, contact Boston approach 120.6.
Boston now 1206, Speedbird 216, goodbye. Boston approach, speedbird 216 on a diversion, descending 11,000 through flight level 260, we have information, Papa.
Seabird 216 Heavy, Boston approach, fly heading a 050, vector ILS runway 22 left, flight pick up Quebec.
Okay, we'll get Quebec and we're now heading 050, Speedbird 216. We'll let you know if there's any issue regarding us being radar vectored in too early, then we'll let you know.
Seabird 216 Heavy, say again, does that maintain 5,000?
Does maintain 5,000. If we're not ready to commence the approach, we'll let you know.
BA216 Heavy, roger. I'm going to vector out to the northeast and I can box you around out there, just advise you ready to go in, only 22 left.
Thanks for that, Speedbird 216.
Seabird 216 Heavy, amend your altitude, maintain 9,000.
Send 9,000, Speedbird 216. And Speedbird 216, just confirm the altimeter, please, for Boston.
Seabird 216 Heavy, Boston altimeter is 2968.
2968, thank you, Speedbird 216.
Seabird 216 Heavy, and do you want equipment standing by when you're landing as well as people at the gate, or would you like...
Sorry, say again for Speedbird 216.
Seabird 216 Heavy, would you like fire and rescue standing by at the runway and EMS at the gate, or do you want just fire rescue?
At the moment we have an uncontrollable fume event in the rear of the aircraft here. However, it's not got to the stage where we're going to evacuate the aircraft. However, that may well occur. So if the fire services could follow us after landing, and then if we have to initiate anything, they're there standing by.
Seabird 216 Heavy, you can expect that.
Roger, thank you.
Seabird 216 Heavy, turn right heading 140, and you are clear to Boston Airport for your radar vector.
Roger. Speedbird 216, we're happy to take a left turn actually now and go have extended downwind.
Seabird 2 and go heavy, so you ready to go in now?
Yeah, I think so, yeah, please go ahead. Seabird 216.
Seabird 216 Heavy, descend maintain 5,000, turn left heading 330, vector ILS 22 left.
Radar vector 22 left, heading 330, descending altitude 5,000. Seabird 216.
Seabird 216 Heavy, and amend your heading, fly heading a 350.
Heading 350, Speedbird 216.
Speedbird 216 Heavy, contact approach 126.5.
165, Speedbird 216. Boston, Speedbird 216 Heavy, with you heading 350 degrees, descending altitude.
Speedbird 216 Heavy, turn left heading at 340, descend and maintain 4,000.
Left heading 340 degrees, descend altitude 4,000, Speedbird 216.
Speedbird 216 Heavy, any special speed on final you need?
Negative, Speedbird 216.
Speedbird 216 Heavy, what was your original destination, Heathrow?
A350, Seabird 216, and we're ready to take further left if it works for you.
Speedbird 216 Heavy, roger, fighting 320.
320, Seabird 216.
Speedbird 216 Heavy, turn to the left heading 290.
Left head 290, Seabird 216.
16, go ahead.
For the information for the tower, we'd like to remain on the runway after landing in order just to contact the cabin and see what the environment's like where they are.
Speedbird 216 Heavy, turn left heading 270, speed 190. Caution light turbulence going to follow heavy A350.
Okay, left heading 272 degrees, and we're reducing to, 210 was that, Steve? Oh, sorry, 190, Speedbird 216.
190 for now. Speedbird 216 Heavy is 3 miles from Noli, turn left heading 250, maintain 4,000 until established on a localizer, cleared ILS runway 22 left approach, maintain 170 knots to focus.
So 170 knots to focus, we're going to turn left heading 250 degrees to cleared onto the ILS, 22 left and maintaining 4,000 until we're established with 216. Speedbird 216, we'd like to do 160 to focus please.
Speedbird 216 Heavy, 160 knots to focus.
Thank you, 160 to focus, 216.
216 Heavy, contact Boston Tower 134.05.
13405, Speedbird 216. Boston Tower, Speedbird 216.
Silver 216, Boston Tower, Logan, emergency service frequencies are on this frequency. Runway 22 left, clear to land, caution wing turbulence following heavy air, about 350, 2-mile final. Vehicle will follow you down the runway.
Okay, Silver 216, we're clear to land, runway 22 left, and for your information, once we've landed, we'd like to remain on the runway and just assess what the cabin environment is like before we make a decision whether we vacate.
Silver 216 Heavy, roger, not a problem at all.
Okay, thank you. We're intending to vacate probably around the intersection with runway 27, around that area.
Got it.
So Speedbird 216 on the final stages now of its approach into Logan. You heard there the emergency vehicles are being geared up to meet the aircraft and follow it down the runway. So all precautions being taken.
Frequency if you'd like to communicate with anything.
Okay, Logan Command, Speedbird 216. Okay, when we departed Washington, we had a bird strike with a large bird of prey. It hit the underside of the aircraft, which I think has impacted our air conditioning system. So the only consequence of that is the fact that our cabin has a fume event in the cabin. We're just assessing that now with our cabin crew team, and we'll let you know what we're going to do from there. Yeah, okay, we're just getting information from the cabin crew. I'll call you back in a second. So just out to the cabin crew, and they say the cabin fume event is dissipating, so we are quite happy for us to vacate the runway and taxi to a gate, but it's for you guys to follow us just in case there's any other impacts when we taxi between here and our terminal building. Nice indeed, but at the moment the conditions are good in the cabin. We'll taxi to the gate.
So I hope you found that interesting. Thanks so much to ATC Alert on YouTube, whose footage I've incorporated into that video. You can watch their channel and have a look at interesting ATC events they pick up in North America. Well, those passengers were disembarked from the 777 after a very short period of time, disembarked from 777-300 Sierra Tango Bravo Delta at Boston and transferred to an Airbus A380, which was due to fly to London as the BA212. It inherited the BA216 flight number. I think probably quite a few of its former passengers as well, because plenty of room on the aircraft as long as it wasn't fully booked, and some of the other flights to Boston were able later in the evening to accommodate passengers. So one would very much hope that it wasn't too busy and nobody was left behind. But of course, safety is the prime concern in these incidents. And you can see the professionalism of the pilots, of the air traffic control, and I'm sure the cabin crew were doing a great job. In fact, we know they were because one of the passengers had posted on X that they'd been well looked after. So I thought it would be interesting just to have a look at that story of BA216. The 777 stayed at Boston overnight, stayed on the ground all the following day up until 22:49 when it took off from Boston Logan empty and flew back across the Atlantic to Heathrow, where it spent a couple of days. So I don't know for sure, but I think it looks to me as if that air conditioning equipment was damaged, then a small repair, and it was back in to traffic. And the passengers got a surprise flight on an Airbus A380 back to London. Well, apologies for having to update you on the A380 news at the beginning of this video following a little technical blip that I'd caused on the previous British Airways fleet update. And there you are, an update on the BA216. I'll catch you again here on Mark's Trains, Planes and Trains very soon.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and click the notification button so you don't miss any of the great trips Mark has coming your way on this YouTube channel.